The decision to award Tony Blair, let me get this right, a Knight Companion of the Most Noble Order of the Garter. Do you change as the years pass? I do. I've got opinions now in my approaching my 80th birthday next week that I didn't have when I was younger. I've got some opinions that I don't think I had a couple of years ago. I changed my mind quite profoundly about some quite big stuff. I don't know. I think when you look at some of the people Boris Johnson in particular has put in the House of Lords, it's been so horribly tarnished and cheapened that someone who deserves to be recognised by their country being offered a peerage is probably still going to accept it, but it must feel a little less shiny than it did before. Actually, Gordon Brown put Digby Pudding Jones in the House of Lords, so we don't even have to give Boris Johnson the full. Imagine that poor old Gordon Brown. He must look back upon that and think, what was I thinking? Digby, Lord Digby of Pudding, or whatever he called himself. But you look at who Boris Johnson. You know, one of the most deserving recipients of a peerage from Boris Johnson is Boris Johnson's brother. But the idea that Boris Johnson could just give his brother by dint of, I don't know, family loyalty. He's a decent minister, a decent universities minister, Joe Johnson, a very bright man. And compared to all the other people that Boris Johnson has put in the House of Lords, like David Frost, who resigned, of course, as Brexit minister just before the new realities of Brexit were due to bite, and some really dreadful characters. The one was Zach Goldsmith, who lends him his holiday home. Quite incredible. So my view of the honour system is probably more negative now than it's ever been. And I find the whole idea of a Knight Companion of the Most Noble Order of the Garter a little bit daft, but the idea that Tony Blair shouldn't get one is just looking increasingly silly. But you are welcome to disabuse me of that notion. If you watch, I tell you what's a good thing to watch. I've already mentioned Don't Look Up. I didn't give away the ending. I said it's about the possible end of the world. So I really recommend it. Leonardo DiCaprio, Meryl Streep, all sorts of superstars. Mark Rylance puts in an absolute killer performance, and it's very much territory that you and I have explored together. It is people being persuaded by politicians to ignore facts and to vote, essentially, or to act very much against their own interests. And some of the coverage of the media in it is close to genius, I have to be honest with you. Incredibly good. I recommend that. I also recommend The Kingsman, the kind of origin story of Kingsman. You know, the Taron Egerton film? The Kingsman. It's really good. The new film, which stars Ralph Fiennes, The Kingsman, is very, quotes, woke, end quotes. And it has a lovely little routine, because Ralph Fiennes plays the Earl of Oxford. And it has a lovely little routine in which they talk about how the only reason why you end up being a noble is because you had particularly bloodthirsty and unpleasant ancestors. So the honour system is built on deferential nonsense. But if you can set aside that and then tell me why Tony Blair should be held to some standard that's higher than any other recipient of an honour in the last 500 years, then I'll give you the money myself.